Good evening, my fellow schwitzing viewers out in TV land. I'm Mr. Science. On today's episode of my show, I'll be welcoming some super special guest stars and trying some experiments for one important reason: because I can. But before we start, it's time to drop a little knowledge on you, care of world-renowned home safety expert, my mother.
Hello again, viewers. Here's today's science fact. Radon is a naturally occurring, colorless, odorless gas that results from the radioactive decay of uranium. And now, let's meet Mr. Science's animal of the month.
Well, everyone, I'd like to introduce you to my special science partners, Nicholas and Christopher. Welcome to the show, boys. Just to clear up any confusion, would it be okay if I referred to both of you as Sparky?
Yeah. Okay.
No, that would probably just make it even more confusing then, because which Sparky would... Anyway, gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to today's animal of the month, the giant African millipede. Tell me something. At school, did you all learn about insects and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Well, the millipede here is not an insect. The easiest way to tell is by how many legs. Legs on the insect?
8. 6.
That is correct, 6. So you thought quizzes were over now that school was out? Wrong. But that is correct. Insects all have 6 legs. As you can take a look here, this fellow, girl, whatever she it is, a lot more than 6. The millipedes are sort of distant cousins of the insects. They're all part of an even bigger group of animals called the arthropods. Say arthropod.
Arthropod.
Say arthropod.
Arthropod.
Say it 5 times fast.
Arthropod. Arthropod.
Don't forget it, that's going to take too long. The arthropods, like insects and millipedes, all have a few things in common. One is they do not have the spine or backbone that humans have. Instead, they've got an exoskeleton, sort of a shell on the outside. Viewers at home, feel the fingernails. That's what the exoskeleton on most arthropods feels like. It's made out of something called chitin. Chitin, that's a funny word. Anyway, insects are arthropods, arachnids like spiders are arthropods, crustaceans like lobsters and crabs are arthropods, centipedes are arthropods, as are the millipedes. The word millipede means having 1,000 feet. I have to admit, that's kind of false advertising. This guy does not have 1,000 feet. Probably someone just kept counting and then decided, call it 1,000. Different kinds of millipedes have different numbers of feet. The giant African millipede is the biggest kind in the world. So this guy has 300 feet. If you look real closely when he's walking there, you can see they move a little bit at a time for each one, going kind of down the line. The millipede is a close relative of the centipede, but there are a few differences. One is, you see the stripies on this guy here? Just like other arthropods, like insects and spiders, the millipede's body is divided up into segments. With a centipede, each segment there has 2 legs, one on each side. The millipedes have 4 legs for each segment. They've got 2 on the left, 2 on the right. So they do have more legs than the centipedes. Another key difference is that centipedes are carnivores. They eat other insects. They eat insects, other centipedes, millipedes. Small animals are prey for the centipedes. Millipedes, like Millie here, vegetarians. They only eat plants. This guy's favorite food, delicious, delicious apples. Delicious apples. Yes, but we also feed him potatoes, lettuce. He'll eat lots of different kinds of plants. Another difference has to do with different kinds of toxic things that come out of their bodies. Centipedes are all venomous. Just like a spider or a rattlesnake, they have a poisonous bite that they use to kill their prey. The millipede here is not venomous, but is instead poisonous. Animals that are poisonous just have their poison to protect themselves. They like monarch butterflies, poison arrow frogs. The only way this poison is going to affect you is if you try to eat this guy. Now let me stress, I have never, ever seen one of the giant millipedes do this. They're usually pretty calm and, as you can see, pretty docile. He's just moseying along here. But if he got really scared, he can make a poisonous substance coming out of the exoskeleton that would be bad to eat. Trust me on that part. So don't lick him. Promise? No licking the millipede. It would also be bad if you touched it and then got it into your eyes. You'd be like, ah, stinging eyes. Ah, ah, ah. That's not really the main defense that the millipede uses. That would be the last line of defense. But if Millie here got scared, the first thing he would do would probably be to curl up into a little spiral. It's sort of like when a turtle goes into the shell. They sort of tuck the head and the legs on the inside as much as possible and let the hard exoskeleton protect them. Also, being round makes you tougher to eat. Try biting a basketball. You'll see what I'm talking about there. It's tough to get your mouth around stuff. Now, this kind of millipede comes from Africa. We have millipedes here in Connecticut, but they don't get to be this big. This is the biggest kind in the world. I'm going to say probably about 6 inches long now. Millie is still growing, though, and could get to be close to 1 foot long. So picture this, almost twice as big. Everyone picturing that now? Here in Connecticut, most of the millipedes will be a lot smaller. And just like this kind of millipede, they're usually going to be found in somewhere dark and kind of damp. They love digging in dirt. Maybe you pick up a rock, there'd be some underneath there. Now, boys, any questions you'd like to know about Millie the millipede here?
No.
Nope.
Would you like to feel what this exoskeleton feels like?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Give it a tap there. No. Hard just like the fingernails there, yes. And you can see that's the front end, because look, see the little antennas waving around on Millie there? I tried to get some antennas once. Didn't work out very well. Well, guys, now that we've met a many-legged animal here, should we let him get some rest and try some science experiments?
Sure.
Sure? All right, viewers, it's time for us to dare to experiment. Good job, Mill. Boys, are you ready to try some experiments?
Sure.
Now, these are some somewhat unusual experiments, which perhaps some of our viewers could try at home themselves. There's an important reason we're going to do these experiments. Do you know what that reason is?
No.
Because we can. That's pretty much the reason for all good experiments. This device here, probably barely even visible to the camera, is a really, really sharp sewing needle. Either of you know how to sew?
No.
And it's a